Summer, thank you so much, and thank you for building an amazing team and having such an awesome event today. I think this is really sort of the crown jewel of the Blockchain Association this week, and appreciate all of the hard work that the team has done. I'm super excited to be here with Patrick today. It says I have 5 minutes, but not counting down, so somebody just tell me when I need to leave. Okay, we have 5 minutes, apparently, 20 minutes. We'll see. Anyway, Patrick, you're awesome. So I was remembering fondly being here last year, and it was right after the election. And somehow, somewhere, we got a video of President Trump, who, it was like 36 minutes long, or 36 seconds long. It was like a very short video, but I probably watched it 150 times in a row because he was wishing everyone here a good summit, and it was really awesome. And I do want to get into some questions about market structure quickly, but can you tell us about how you got to the White House and what your role is there for those of you who may not know you in this room?
Sure. So we were down in West Palm at the time. I was one of the day one folks down there, flew down with Linda McMahon and Secretary Lutnick, who will be here in a moment. At that time, just Mr. Lutnick coming down, and they were the co-chairs of the transition, and all the work that went into preparing the executive orders, preparing the agency action plans. I managed all of the NatSec related agencies. So I had Department of then Defense, now War. I had the State Department, DOJ, the intelligence community, a bunch of different agencies in there. And my law school classmate, who I had hired onto the transition, who had been on the 2016 transition with the Treasury team, had taken the economic agencies. So Michael Friedman, now the Chief of Staff to Secretary Bessent over at Treasury. And so during that time, I'm managing the NatSec agencies, but concurrently, my close friend, Bo Hines, was shaping this office, kind of modeled on what Jared Kushner had done with the Office of American Innovation. Someone needs to dedicate the appropriate amount of time and attention to the crypto industry. The president had made, obviously, a number of promises on the campaign trail to deliver on making the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. Democrats had strangely kind of put themselves adverse to the technology and the innovation, and the president, smartly saw that as wrong and wanted to correct that, but it required a lot of work just to kind of dig us out of the hole that had been dug by Gary Gensler, Elizabeth Warren, and the others in that camp. And so, Bo was kind of shaping this office, and the plan was for me to go in with him on day one. Well, as transitions can often be a little bit chaotic, come January 20th, they're getting that office stood up. I was asked to join the team over at the Department of Defense, so I was sworn in at the Pentagon about 5 minutes after the president. Served as the Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering for the first 4 months of the administration, overseeing DARPA and the Defense Science and Technology Enterprise. Started a dual hat to the White House in April, and then have taken over, obviously, since Bo stepped out back into the private sector.
I know one of your big jobs today is working with Congress on both sides of the aisle, both chambers, to try to advance market structure legislation, which is something we've heard a lot about today. In my experience, market structure has evolved over time, right? I mean, first we sort of had this issue that dealt with token classification and how to deal with the issuance of new tokens. Then it sort of evolved into how do we regulate the spot markets. Then when that happens, you have to figure out what to do with DeFi, and then somehow illicit finance comes in. It's gotten to be rather big. Can you talk about, from the admin's point of view, what are sort of the critical components that you want to see in market structure legislation? And are we on track to get that done in the Senate?
I'll answer the second question first. I think we are. We're in the throes of this negotiation right now, but I can say that we are as close to passing landmark market structure legislation as we've ever been. As you mentioned, there's been a number of efforts to advance this before, and much as the industry has evolved over time, so have the concepts and the thoughts around how to appropriately regulate it. I would say overall with scope, obviously granting CFTC spot market authority, you kind of put that at the ground floor floor for that. On top of that, token classification, making sure, folks know in the industry, am I going to be regulated by the SEC? Am I regulated by the CFTC? What is a security? What is a digital commodity? What's in scope for the CFTC to regulate a digital commodity? And so DeFi is a huge component of this as well. I would say I don't want to pick favorites in there, but I would identify them as pretty much all critical. We're fighting on all fronts with our great colleagues on the Democrat side. I would say there truly are a number of Democrats that want to get to yes, that are recognize that this doesn't need to be a political issue. This is about making sure that the United States maintains its dominant and market leader position into the future of finance that we're building right now. So all of these pieces are critical to keeping in the bill. We're engaged in negotiations with Democrats every day across the Banking Committee, across the Ag Committee, and I do believe that we're going to get a product here. Senator Scott on the Senate Banking Committee has said we're going to mark up this year. The White House is committed to that as well, so we're engaging with folks trying to negotiate through and land at a good place on the final issues there. And early in Q1 of next year will be when this comes to the floor in the Senate. But we're as close as we've ever been. I'm very optimistic that we're going to get a great product to the floor in the Senate and move this industry forward and provide the clarity needed to allow it to flourish here at home.
I want to double click a little bit on the DeFi issue. I don't know if Jake is here and Jason Samanzato and Brian Novello, but they were the original DeFi Lawyers Association back in 2020 when there were only 3 DeFi lawyers out there. And it's turned into obviously sort of a big thing. And I think where I am always and I look back across history, I'm we named this wrong because DeFi is crypto, crypto is DeFi. There's not a difference. I think obviously you have centralized intermediaries that are a key component to getting people into and out of the system, but the ideas of transacting on a peer-to-peer basis or being able to use software instead of an intermediary, I think are sort of core to crypto. And so when I hear weird ideas from senators on the Hill who haven't thought about this much that they need to regulate DeFi, it scares the shit out of me. So where's the White House on this? Where are is this an issue that has to be compromised away? Or is this something where, sort of Republicans in the White House can stand strong?
So we are absolutely standing strong on it. We recognize that the real innovation, with blockchain in many ways is DeFi. That's core to it, as you said. So we're maintaining the line. We're holding the line with the Democrats when we negotiate on this issue. And DeFi in the bill is not one thing. There's the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act. There's the 1960 language. There's the exemptions for different activities. So we are, communicating with Democrats who are coming back, asking questions. And wrestling with this issue because it is foreign to folks because we're entering a world in which it's a different paradigm for finance, and the lack of intermediaries gives people pause. And I would say for many senators, and this is not just Democrats but right and left, a lot of them just want to make sure that they don't make a mistake. We're not doing something that is going to introduce risk into the system, allow for bad actors to exploit loopholes, and so that's a good faith concern there. We have to meet them where they are on it. We've made tremendous progress on this issue over the past few weeks. The Treasury team has been terrific, SEC, CFTC, in engaging with the policymakers, staff members, on educating them on what can work and what can't work, right? That's kind of the first order question. And then second, what is going to be palatable to industry? And really, to answer that question, you have to ask yourself, is what we're doing going to drive innovation offshore? I think the Biden era, if there was any silver lining, demonstrated to people that burying your head in the sand and hoping that this goes away is not a strategy. That's not a winning strategy. It's just a question of whether or not we want it to flourish here at home, whether we're going to apply appropriate but not burdensome, overly burdensome safeguards to this industry. So that's the filter that we apply to all of these questions and policy proposals. And I think we're getting there, but I can assure you that we are fighting the good fight to make sure that all of the elements of DeFi stay in the bill.
I think I really love that sort of framework of, does it encourage innovation here or does it drive it away? Because I think that's a really good test at the end of the day as to whether or not we have the policy done correctly. We only have a short time left, so sticking with market structure or expanding into any topics. Again, tremendous amount of success in year one. Year two is kicking off here shortly. What does success look like when it comes to crypto policy for the White House?
Well, I think, as we've been talking about, getting a very solid market structure piece of legislation passed would be number one. Beyond that, the question is going to become, what's kind of the next one? So tax is a huge one right now. There's a lot that we can do in the executive branch while we wait for Congress to hopefully take action in short order on that. I would say the SBR and the digital asset stockpile, more work to be done there. We actively meet with Treasury and Commerce and the different agencies implicated there to see what we can do in the meantime, as we hope that is also an executive order that gets codified. And then you look back at the report, that is chock full of recommendations that, every day there's a new one that different agencies are advancing, whether that's, CFTC, SEC, OCC, it's, down the list. And we meet with them weekly to monitor progress on all the actions that have been identified in the report, with the addition of the Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, and his team to make sure that we're delivering. We can't let our foot off the gas pedal on any of these, and I'll tell you, folks are working really hard, but we're very encouraged by what we see. There's few policy areas where you can create a direct cause and effect between we did this and that happened. And what you're seeing is, with the stablecoin bill, with Genius, hopefully soon with market structure, people are reshoring, they're bringing the innovation back home, foundations are bringing their assets back to the U.S. We are encouraged by that, and we want to make sure that it accelerates and that people are building here at home and that we are delivering on the president's promise to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world.
Well, I think I can speak on behalf of all of us. We appreciate you and all that you do, and thank you so much. And we're at time. That 20 minutes turned into 10. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Patrick. And if we can, anyone in this room can do anything, you just let us know. We are here to support you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.